Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Are you feeling charitable? Then smash the subscribe button, like button, and the share button. And please do come and follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Man. And welcome to Monday's edition of the dceu Daily. And today I've got a great rumour for you that's been fed through to me that I absolutely believe, because this was David Ayre's biggest regret about the Suicide Squad movie he wrote and directed, and that is that Joker will be the villain of the Ayre cut. Let's discuss. Yes, this is what's been told to me. I know for a fact, as you know for a fact, the one thing that David Ayre put his hands up about in terms regarding the Ayre cut or his original take on the film was that he was wrong not to have the Joker as the main villain. And I think this is what let the film down, because I think in the Comic-Con trailer, which he's really proud of, and I think it's a great trailer, there was some kind of hint towards him being the villain of this movie. And of course it made sense, but all he ends up being really, his focus in the theatrical cut anyway, and we don't really know what was going on with it in the shooting and the writing of David Ayre's version of the movie. Could Joker already be the villain in the Ayre cut? Or, as I believe and as I'm being told, he will be given an amount of money to go back and reshoot and put things back that he wanted to do in the movie. He spoke about being a good soldier, you know, promoting the theatrical cut because that's what he was signed up to do. But I think HBO Max, Warner Media and AT&T are in fully support of him giving us the version of the Ayre cut, his Suicide Squad, that we should have had originally. This is something that I think is very vital for the Ayre cut. If Joker being the main villain isn't there, then they need to go back and shoot it. This should be as much David Ayre's ultimate vision as Zack Snyder's Justice League will be Zack's ultimate vision. And David always regretted heavily that he didn't make the Joker the main villain. Now, either they didn't allow him to do that, and the Ayre cut has got this referenced already, which is great because in this COVID times, they don't have to go back and isolate in a bubble for 2 weeks. But I do have a feeling, and I did hint towards it yesterday, that David Ayre will be given money. And I think this now we kind of start to understand why Zack Snyder's Justice League hasn't been given a release date. It's because they were a little bit uncertain about the Ayre cut. Are they going to do it? Are they going to allow him to go back and do reshoots and rewrites? Or are they just going to say, look, you've got a cut, clean it up, CGI it, post it, and let's do this. And it's very clear that now David Ayre is pretty much telling us, without actually telling us, that the Ayre cut is happening. He's quote tweeting haters basically and saying, don't worry, it's going to be great. So basically, it is happening. And look, I expect the announcement, if not this week, this coming week. We're Monday today, so this is a brand new week. Always exciting to be on the first day of the week. Or is Sunday the first day of the week for you? Do you know what? Just an unrelated thing, and I'll go back to this. I thought I was 48 for a whole year, right? I thought I was 48. This is how fucked up this year has been. My dad actually did the maths, and I'm actually 47. How did I not know that? So on October the 26th, it's my birthday, and I think we'll do a special video to mark that date. Not talking about me and how awesome I am, although I might do a separate video on this channel for that. We'll make that a special day, talking about comics and DC, maybe a bit of Marvel, Doctor Who. We'll see what happens. Anyway, going back to this, I think it is important that you do get a filmmaker's ultimate vision. This, you know, they did David more dirty than they did Zack, if that's possible. I think about a director having a vision. This was a dream for everyone involved, actors, you know, the director. You know, David Ayre was given authority to write and direct this movie. And you know what's really, really funny at the start of that movie when it says written and directed by David Ayre? It's a fucking joke, isn't it? because that film isn't written and directed by David Ayer. Elements of that film were, like elements of Justice League were, but that's it. They rewrote portions of the movie, they reshot it with a new director, a mystery director in the shadows, and will we ever find out who that was? That'll be interesting. Why don't you find that out for us, Ray Fisher? Maybe you already know. You're revealing like private conversations with Walter Hamada. Why not tell us that? That'll be interesting. I'd love to know who directed those reshoots, because there were reshoots. They went back, they stabbed David Ayer in the back, and now it's great. And of course it's because they were reactionary. They weren't just doing it to be evil. They genuinely believed after BVS they had to change the course and the direction. They were wrong. If they stayed the course by now, the Snyderverse would have been Earth 1, very successful. People would have slowly accepted it, that it was different. That's the thing with the Snyderverse. And I'm going to do a video later on called Why I Love the Snyderverse, and we'll talk about that a bit more deeper. But basically, the Snyderverse isn't bad. It's different. Different isn't bad. But people like consistency. People like to see what they think they need to see. And when something different happens to these characters they've been following for decades, they get a bit triggered. I can understand that, but never think that David Ayer's vision is bad when you haven't seen it yet. We have not seen what David Ayer's ultimate vision for the Suicide Squad is. So we can't start slaughtering a film we've never seen. That is a theatrical cut. That's a film that was edited and cut together by a trailer editing company. That's a film that had elements reshot and rewritten. It's not David Ayer's film. If you want to slaughter somebody for the film, slaughter whoever did this. Maybe Jeff Johns, John Burke, I don't know. Whoever it was. And I don't want to point the finger at John totally, because I don't know. I think, look, I always blame Kevin Sugihara for the whole thing. I think he was blowing orders at Jeff Johns and John Burke. I think they were under pressure to do his bidding. They were all signed up as the bosses, but they didn't have... Basically, this wasn't a franchise that put auteurs in charge of their own vision. This was a franchise led by the chief executive of Warner Brothers, the then boss of Warner Brothers, Kevin Sugihara. It's all down to him. He put pressure on Johns. Johns was putting pressure on the filmmakers, and this is where it all goes wrong. So when people slaughter Jeff Johns, it's like what I say about Ray Fisher, that, oh, you know, Jeff Johns is now down the food chain, he's in other production companies, but we're getting. But again, what are you going to get him for? Did he hit you? Did he make sexual advances to you? Did he break the law? No, he pretty much just said, if you don't get with the picture, we can easily move you on. That's not really illegal. I don't understand what you think is going to happen here. Maybe move him away from Warner Brothers totally. That would be sad, because I think that Jeff's still got a lot to offer. You know, as I say, I put this all on Kevin Sugihara's kind of table, and Kevin Sugihara is totally out of the Warner Brothers food chain now, so they can't get him. So what you do is you go after Jeff Johns, because he was the one doing the talking on the set. He was the one who was passing down the orders from Kevin Sugihara, and this is what happened. So you blame the small fish. This is what happens. Everyone, David Ayer, Jeff Johns, John Bergs, are seen as the villains, right? And then John Bergs, when Ray Fisher comes out, talks shit about, you know, Ray being a diva, and it's just a shame. It's just a shame, because there's no honesty. There can't be any honesty, because there's NDAs involved. This is why this is something best left alone. You know why it's best left alone now? Because as I'm talking about now, as we're discussing now, the Ayer cut is going to happen. We're getting David's ultimate vision, and we're getting Zack's ultimate vision, ultimately, of his Snyderverse. So it's very, very exciting to be hearing this rumour about David actually being able to go back with Jared Leto and make him the principal villain of that movie. And so that is what we want. And I think there's no question about it now. We are getting the Ayer cut. And I think it's something to celebrate. I think people didn't come to this fight at the beginning. I think people like RT Snyder Cut are now starting to promote release the Ayer cut. You know why? Because they know it's going to happen. They didn't want to put their reputations on the line after they were so successful getting the Snyder Cut released. They had people like Grace Randolph saying, oh, don't bother, maybe afterwards. No. We are going to see David Ayer's Suicide Squad, his ultimate vision, before Zack Snyder's Justice League. I feel this is what's going to happen. I think this is right. I mean, people are talking about Zack going back to do reshoots and stuff. But at the moment, I think he's still working on Army of the Dead. So that hasn't happened yet. So we're going to have to wait a bit for the release of the Snyder Cut. That's why I believe the David Ayer's ultimate vision of his Suicide Squad movie will stream first on HBO Max. But they could stream at the same time, so you can watch them both at your pleasure. And we don't know. Now, I'm assuming the Ayre Cut isn't 4 hours long, like the Snyder Cut, so they probably can't release it in limited series form, but they may do that. And this is, I think, where the Flashpoint multiverse strategy comes in. Where is the Snyderverse going to be? And it's a bit complicated, because they're obviously going to... What do you do with Gal's Wonder Woman? Is she part of the Snyderverse? What do you do with Aquaman? Is he part of the Snyderverse, or is he going to be an Earth Oneer? These are things that need to be decided very, very quickly. I'm assuming they've got a plan and they're not working off the seat of their pants, because that would be problematic. I'll be discussing all that with the Flashpoint v Spider-Man free video. I really want to get my thoughts and doubts and the pressure I feel that Andy Muschietti is going to be under for this film, because that film basically, and I'll be discussing this in the video, is a genre-defining, altering, franchise-changing movie. There's a lot riding on it. And I'm shocked and stunned that Warner Brothers are pretty much putting all their faith in Andy, even though I think he's a great storyteller and director, and Christina Hodson. But we'll be talking about that a little bit later on here on Big Mouth. But the good news is we're going to get the Ayre Cut. He's going to be given a budget. I don't think it'll be as much as Zack, but certainly a budget of maybe 25 to 35 million to go back and put in what he wanted. AT&T and HBO Max believe this is going to work for them. These are two massive events which will probably come back to back of each other. These are things that will get people to subscribe. Even if you don't like the Snyderverse, you're going to be intrigued. And with so much being cancelled and postponed, this puts HBO Max in a really strong position. Are you excited? Do you want the Joker to be the villain of the Ayre Cut of Suicide Squad? Or do you think they should leave well enough alone? I'm so pumped and excited because I genuinely believe that this is true. I'm confident in this source. I'm confident this is going to happen. And it's not rocket science, is it? It's what the man wanted to do. He wants to show us his vision after he was stabbed in the back. We know HBO Max and AT&T and Warner Media, the newly formed company, are very passionate about auteurs being able to give us their own vision. So let's see what happens with that. And when this is all, of course, officially announced, I will, of course, do a video and we will celebrate. I'll probably be drinking a bottle of champagne and dancing. I think we all will. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.